Total damage in New York was about $41 billion, and in New Jersey, I think $36 billion.
And did some damage, along the area south of Jersey, but then moved up Jersey, covered the entire coastline of Jersey. It went then through the 5 boroughs of New York, out onto Long Island, went a little bit up into Connecticut, stretched west into New Jersey and upstate New York, not necessarily providing damage, but there was power outages.
We were kind of in the dark. We didn't know how bad it was. And our first couple of trips were to shelters where people were okay. They had left their homes. It wasn't until we took the trip to Staten Island that we realized how huge of a disaster it was.
And then I went to Staten Island, and I was there most of my time. I was working at a hospital, Bailey Seton Hospital on Staten Island. And there we had over 100 clients and over 30 animals. And I was the night shift, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. every day. So we did dinner and breakfast, and all night we would provide snacks for them. They would come and talk to us about what they were feeling, and most of them couldn't sleep. So we were just there to help in any way that we could.
My story from Staten Island is a little different than Lynn's, in that we were just briefly there serving meals to people who were in pretty bad shape. And it wasn't long after we were there that there was a knock on the door. And one of the residents came up and said, "Would you like some coffee?" And I was just amazed. I said, "Well, yeah." She said, "I'm sorry, it's going to be decaf and instant." And I said, "That is so wonderful." And she brought us some hot coffee. In the midst of all this suffering, these women, this person was interested in making our being there a little more comfortable. And that was really great.
By the time I got there, it was 5:30, and even though the storm had hit the coast, inland was affected power-wise. So there were no lights, no street lights, no traffic lights, wires down.
The hardest part for me was we were handing out these meals. Cliff and the other people were working very hard in the truck, making them as fast as they could. And there was a gentleman on the other side of the street. There were 2 lanes of traffic between us and him, and he was older. He kind of reminded me of my dad. And he was rolling up the street in one of those little motorized wheelchairs. And he looked over at me with this haunted look that I will never forget. So I got a meal and 2 bottles of water, and I took them across the street to him. And he said, "Thank you, and God bless you." And as he rolled up the street, he started crying, and the tears were rolling down his face. So it does take a toll, but it's also very fulfilling to know that you helped that man who hadn't eaten in 5 days.
I got a hotel assignment, which was not at the hotel where we were headquartered. It was another 30 miles south, back to Princeton. Drove back to Princeton, found my hotel with some challenge because there were no hotel signs or lights illuminating the hotel. Checked in the hotel and discovered that the hotel had no lights or heat. It had some generator-powered emergency lights. And I spent close to a week in that hotel with no heat and no light. Very similar circumstances to the folks we were trying to help.
I truly believe that my life changed more in those 2 weeks than in the last 2 years. From all the people that I met who were share their stories with me, to working with my team whose support got me through the whole experience, and to witnessing the devastation and what Mother Nature is capable of.
I think in the course of 2 weeks there serving food, we received more God bless yous. Thank you for being here. What would we do without the Red Cross? That's the payoff for the whole thing.